Now at 6, a community in shock after a 3-year-old is killed in a drive-by shooting. His family heartbroken.
And I'm gonna miss him so much. I don't know why this happened. I don't know what's going on.
Video captures the moment gunfire shatters the peace in a Charlotte neighborhood. Nearly 150 rounds fired, hitting several homes. It's the latest in a string of violence over the past several days. Police say all connected to local high school students.
Parents, I'm going to speak directly to you. We need you to be as outraged as we are about this.
Certainly a difficult day for the Charlotte community. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Fred Shropshire.
And I'm Vanessa Rufus.
We want to start this half hour with this. Charlotte's mayor sharing this photo tonight of the young victim, Asaya Figueroa. He was just 3 years old inside his family's home when he was killed. The mayor pleading with the community to come forward with information.
We need your help because I know we can't do it alone anymore.
This is the number to call if you know anything that could help. CMPD's tip line, 704-432-TIPS. We're going to keep this number up for you in the corner of your screen.
And right now we want to send it out to the scene right now. WCNC Charlotte's Lexi Wilson is joining us live there.
Lexi, this is just a heartbreaking crime and the suspects are still out there.
Well, that's correct. Police are still looking for the people that shot and killed this little boy. Let me show you the home that he was in when this all unfolded. Right now there is a memorial growing and there are several bullet holes on the outside of this home. The family saying they want this violence to end. Dozens of shots ring out for more than 10 seconds, all captured on security camera. Those shots fired by several suspects who arrived in multiple cars. Some of those bullets hitting 2 children in the home, killing a 3-year-old boy.
And I'm gonna miss him so much. I don't know why this happened.
3-year-old Asaya Figueroa killed in this drive-by shooting Tuesday night. His 4-year-old sister grazed, but expected to be okay. Tonight, CMPD Chief Johnny Jennings with a message to the suspects who pulled the trigger.
How can you wake up this morning knowing that your actions last night took the life of a 3-year-old?
According to police, this shooting and several others are related to each other.
We do know of numerous CMS students that are involved, and to our knowledge, they are all teenagers.
The first took place Sunday night. A 16-year-old was killed on Trinity Road. 2 others were hurt. A 14-year-old charged with the murder. Now the family asking for teens to put the guns down.
Stop having all this violence going around, shooting up people's houses, and then half of them getting away with what they're doing, which is very wrong.
This is still a very active and ongoing investigation. If you have any information, you're asked to call CMPD. Reporting live in Northwest Charlotte for WCNC Charlotte, I'm Lexi Wilson.
A heartbreaking story. Lexi, thank you.
Police are working to comb through several different videos that show the shooters firing their weapons in the neighborhood and driving off.
WCNC Charlotte's Bill McGinty joins us to explain what we are learning from this footage.
Yeah, we're breaking down the shocking video, this disturbing drive-by shooting. This looks like something out of a movie, but sadly, this is all too real. Now, in this video, you see these 2 cars pull up next to that house back there where the 2 cars are parked in the driveway. You see at least 4 people in hoods jump out and immediately start firing into that house. All those flashes you see there on the screen are gunshots. After 13 seconds, CMPD says 150 rounds were fired at that house, fatally hitting the little boy. You see the suspects hop into the car and then drive off. Now, this is a different angle. Just a horrific nightmare for that family and the community and that neighborhood. Guys, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Police and the community now seeking solutions to stop this violence among teens.
WCNC Charlotte's Lana Harris joins us live with more. Lana?
Yeah, so we just wanted to give you a little bit more perspective on how excessively this house was shot up if the front wasn't enough. And you can see how bad that already is. But look at the side. The side has been riddled with bullets. The next door neighbor's house has been sprayed. In fact, they tell me they counted at least 10 holes. The window's been busted there. It was really bad out here last night. And CMPD says they cannot solve this alone. They need parents and teachers at this point to step up.
Where are they getting the guns from?
Belton Platt, the leader of the Alternatives to Violence program in Charlotte, asked this question on Tuesday afternoon. But on Tuesday night, nearly 150 rounds were fired by suspects CMPD believes are school-aged, killing 3-year-old Asaya Figueroa and injuring his 4-year-old sister.
What started out as teenage dispute games has turned into a deadly game.
CMPD announced, along with the case of a 14-year-old charged with the weekend murder of a 16-year-old, there has been a string of shootings into homes since Sunday that they believe are all connected.
All of these cases have some relation to Hopewell High School.
Captain Joel McNally says they also have some connections to North Mecklenburg and Chambers High Schools.
For the most part, you have between 13 to 16-year-old boys out here as if they're in an old Western.
Charlotte NAACP President Corin Mack says her team has found even young children are getting their hands on guns.
The youngest person we've heard of was 9 years old, and every one of our lives are in danger because of it.
CMPD says there are simple ways you can help. Lock up your guns and don't leave them in your car.
We do have guns stolen out of cars. We have guns that are taken in house break-ins, and we do have guns that come from other areas.
Beverly Knox Davis with A Brighter Day Ministry says local parents may know who's involved with youth crime.
There are plenty of parents that know who is doing what they're doing, and they're fearful. They don't dare say a word.
Captain McNally says they need parents to speak up.
This is where your kids go to school. These are the people that your kids are around, and we need your help. Look through their rooms, look through their phones, look through their social media accounts, and find out what you can find out.
Now you can see her memorial has been growing for that poor 3-year-old who lost his life. And of course, because CMPD said that students at 3 different CMS schools may have some relation to these crimes, we have reached out to CMS to ask if they're concerned about student relations, if they'll be doing any outreach efforts, and if they're giving any more consideration to bringing in outside organizations to help them stop some of this crime we're seeing. And as of yet, we have not heard back from them. Here in Northwest Charlotte, I'm Lana Harris, WCNC Charlotte.
Thank you, Lana. We know there's a whole lot of information coming in about this shooting.
Our Megan Bragg is here to verify what's true and what's false. Megan?
Yeah, guys, there's clearly a lot of information out there, and we're learning new information every hour. So we want to walk you through what we know right now. We know the suspects are all teenagers who CMPD says the students are connected to Hopewell High School, North Mecklenburg High School, and Chambers High School. As you've heard, we can also tell you that CMPD says nearly 150 rounds were fired into that home where the boy was shot and killed. Police originally said it was 80 rounds, but during a press conference today, they upped that number. So that is why you've probably been hearing 2 different numbers. And one thing we're still working to learn is if this shooting was gang related. CMPD says that is something they are actively investigating. Now, the department says as they pursue leads and talk to people, that's something they are evaluating to see if that is the case. If you see any rumors about this shooting that you want us to clear up, you can reach out to me on my social media or email our Verify team at verify@wcnc.com. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
All right, Megan, thank you. As new information comes in on this search, you'll find it first on WCNC Charlotte's mobile app. Make sure you have push notifications enabled to get breaking news alerts sent straight to your phone.
Also breaking tonight, one person is dead and a second person is fighting for their life. This after a shooting in West Charlotte. Investigators say that this happened this afternoon on West Boulevard. The victim who died was first driven to the Walmart on Wilkinson Boulevard, which is located about a mile away from the scene of the shooting. And we got this new video here of the scene where that shooting happened. You can see that crime scene tape is up at the entrance to 1701 City View Apartments. Anyone with information on this can call Crime Stoppers. All right, let's get over to Brad right now. We have been seeing some showers out there.
Yeah, some pop-up storms from time to time this afternoon, and we're keeping a close eye on an area across from Lake Norman. You can see off in the distance some dark clouds there. There have been a couple of storms firing up, and one of them is right there near Lake Norman. A couple storms have developed again this evening across the foothills, but you see there eastern part of Lincoln County near Westport. This is moving right over the central part of Lake Norman. Brief heavy downpours. Also numerous storms developing now in Chester and York County, especially just west of Rock Hill, not too far from York. And then back in the foothills, right around Marion very strong storm here about to move into Burke County, right along Interstate 40. So just a heads up, some gusty winds with that. Now the front is still way back to the west. Until it gets here later tonight, we're going to see the chance of storms stick with us, maybe all the way until tomorrow morning. Coming up, I'll show you when that drier, cooler air moves in, and the latest on our newest tropical storm, Mindy. I'll tell you where it's heading in that forecast.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you, Brad. Coming up on WCNC Charlotte, remembering 9/11, 20 years later. What was it like in the newsroom as that televised national tragedy unfolded? Our Larry Sprinkle takes you behind the scenes for that unique perspective. Next.
Tonight, the shocking new details we've uncovered about the Louisiana warehouse where seniors were taken to ride out Hurricane Ida. Also, 20 years after 9/11, the remarkable effort still underway to identify the remains of victims when we see you back here tonight.
Breaking tonight, lots of increased police activity on Kiev Drive. Few details at this time.
But we do have a crew there. We also know that late Tuesday night, somebody fired shots at a home on this street. So we want to get straight to Brianna Harper, who's on the scene. Bree, what can you tell us?
Well, we just got to the scene maybe a couple minutes ago, and immediately what we noticed was several police cars lining this neighborhood street here along at Kiev Drive. We've seen police officers going in and out of this home here in the neighborhood. Again, no word yet on exactly what they were responding to, but we got a tip into our newsroom that police were in this neighborhood, and it kind of caught our attention because this is one of the many homes that were targeted in overnight shootings, including one of those shootings that killed a 3-year-old boy. Again, we don't know if this is related to last night's shooting or if police are looking for any specific suspects, but they do have several officers out here entering in and out of this home. We're working to get more information to figure out if there's any connection and also if there's any word of anyone that they should be looking out for. When we learn more, we'll be sure to pass it along. For now, reporting live in North Charlotte, Brianna Harper, WCNC, Charlotte.
Bree, thank you. And of course, Bree alluded to this, the fact that we're also staying on top of this breaking news, this death of a 3-year-old child. The urgent search is still underway after that child was killed in a drive-by shooting in Northwest Charlotte. So quick recap here of what we know. Home security video, we've gotten this. It shows several people getting out of cars, firing gunshots and driving off. Police have revealed this afternoon they believe high school students are responsible for this terrible crime. Asaya Figueroa shot and killed inside his home. His 4-year-old sister was injured, and police now urging the community to come forward if they have any information about this. This is the number to call. This is CMPD's tip line, 704-432-TIPS.
Turning the page now, as the 20th anniversary of 9/11 approaches, we are taking some time to reflect on what happened that fateful day. A terror attack on U.S. soil, much of it unfolding on live television.
And tonight we're taking you behind the scenes for a look at what it was like here at WCNC Charlotte when the news broke. Our Bill McGinty joins us now with that unique perspective. I imagine, Bill, a lot of memories just solidified about that day.
Yeah, you know, everybody has a personal story about where they were. So the question, do you remember where you were? What were you doing at that time in the morning that day? Here at WCNC Charlotte, we were waiting to be on the air for a morning news cut-in when the world suddenly changed. On much of the East Coast that day, it was sunshine and blue skies. It was just another Tuesday for the morning crew here at WCNC. Larry Sprinkle was waiting to tell you just how nice it was going to be that day.
It's going to be a beautiful day, mid-80s. I'm sitting in the Weather Center. You know, we do what's called a cut-in at 8:56. We're getting ready for that.
In TV, our job is to sometimes watch TV, waiting for the cue from the network up in New York, sending it back to local in every TV market for a weather cut-in that Larry was waiting to do. But that morning, the cue from the network never came.
All of a sudden, I can tell that there's some distraction in the studio. And then I hear one of the guys walk in and say, I think the Today Show is going to stay on. We're not going to do the cut-in.
Oh, another one just hit. Something else just hit. A very large plane just flew directly over my building.
And we all watched what you all watched, thinking the same and probably feeling that same heavy feeling. Heavy for New York, for the victims, for their families, and for our country.
when we were watching it here at the station, to hear the reaction of all the people, at that point, we left the studio, went into the newsroom, and all the different monitors up there and watching all the networks and everything.
Still today, 20 years later, we all live with the memory of what happened that Tuesday morning. A terrible day in American history, and that awful surprise that shook American complacency for decades to come. The confusion of the day faded into anger, sadness, as in you at home know too, the heavy feeling that I mentioned. It didn't subside for months, and for some people, for years. Guys.
And we haven't been the same since.
Nope. Yeah, and when you see the footage, it just brings it right back. It just brings it right back for you. Yeah. Bill, thank you.
You bet. And much more coverage tonight on NBC Nightly News. We've learned 2 more victims from the 9/11 attacks have been identified 20 years later. NBC News goes inside the high-tech lab where forensic scientists are learning to use new scientific advancements to finally bring some closure to those families. That's ahead at 6:30 right here on WCNC Charlotte.
Let's get over to our forecast right now. It looks like, Brad, a lot of the showers are kind of getting a little bit out of the area.
Yeah, they're kind of dancing around us. We're not done with the rain chances, though, so don't put the umbrella away. And this evening, we're likely still going to see some downpours because as we talk, more and more storms are developing. But this storm in particular over here in McDowell County is one I'm watching very closely because it's got a little bit of some strong winds with it. Possibly could become a severe thunderstorm with any moment right now. You know, this area right near Camp Grimes, that's where Mecklenburg County Council of Boy Scouts has their camp up there, right in that general area. So it's pushing towards the east, heading towards Drexel, Valdez, Connolly Springs, Eichert area, Hildebrand between now and about 7:30. Could make it all the way to Hickory. The reason we're still going to see storms, the cold front is back to the west, so it's going to squeeze out this tropical moisture which is streaming ahead of it, and so our rain chances actually will be going up. And you notice between about 9 o'clock and midnight, probably going to see a decent batch of rain, and then even overnight we could hear some showers of storms. And much like we saw this morning with those one little cluster that came through right around sunrise, we likely could see a couple of those during the overnight hours. Low risk right now for most of our area for severe storms. Again, it's a low risk. Wind and hail would be our primary concern with any storms that develop this evening and into the overnight hours until that front gets here sometime during the middle of tomorrow. Here's what it should look like. Futurecast shows generally right around 11 o'clock. That's when that cluster of storms will be here. But even into 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, notice we still have a couple storms around. The front's pushing through right there, and by 7 o'clock, so this time tomorrow, we should be completely dry, northerly winds, much better weather. In fact, dew points will be in the 40s and 50s. It's going to feel great around here, and really a great weekend. Looks a lot like the last weekend we just had for Labor Day. Believe it or not, there's a tropical storm down in the Gulf of Mexico. It has a name, Mindy, but the impacts are just rain. This is going to move fairly quickly to the north and east. The same front moving through our area picks it up and pushes it out of here, so it's long gone. Even with that system down there, by Friday, all the Carolinas will be completely dry and clear. So if you have plans at the beaches, no concerns at all. Just some rain tonight and tomorrow. By Friday, everything dries out. You see that little swirl, just enough to classify it as a tropical storm, and you could see it's going to be on land here shortly. So it won't have much time to intensify any more than the 40-mile-an-hour winds that it currently has. Here's the quick track, and you can see it becomes a tropical depression tonight, and by tomorrow pushes off to the east, and eventually by Friday and Saturday will dissipate or get sheared apart by that cold front. Now, our rain chances are pretty minimal. We could have used a little rain out of this system, but unfortunately tomorrow morning and tonight probably our only chances. After that, for the rest of the weekend, looks nice and dry, and it's going to stay dry. Dew points in the 30s, 40s possible on Friday, and then back into the 50s for the weekend. So really comfortable air, even though temperatures will be warming up. Our other tropical system is Hurricane Larry, east of Bermuda, stays out over the open Atlantic, heads up and maybe brings some big-time snow, believe it or not, to Greenland as all that moisture moves way up into the North Atlantic. But it is causing some issues with rip currents, dangerous rip currents again tomorrow up and down the coast of the Carolinas. So rough waters out there thanks to that large storm way out east of Bermuda. Tomorrow, morning showers and clouds will give way to sunshine as the day goes on. So the later we get tomorrow, we should see better weather. So evening soccer and baseball and football practices should be just fine with temperatures only in the low 80s tomorrow. By the weekend, we'll see temperatures climbing back up into the 80s, but the mornings stay comfortable, very dry air in place, and very little rain chances through the middle of next week.
All right, thanks so much, Brad. We want to get back to that breaking news here. Superintendent of CMS, Ernest Winston, has been issuing a statement here regarding the death of that 3-year-old child. We've been talking about this breaking news story all day. That child killed in a drive-by shooting in Northwest Charlotte overnight. This is a security video of a home showing that shooting happening, several people getting out of cars, firing gunshots, driving off. As we've told you before, police have revealed that they believe high school students are responsible for this crime. They particularly pointed to 3 Charlotte high schools: Hopewell High, North Mecklenburg High School, and Chambers High School. So here's the statement. Winston just releasing this in response to the recent violence. It says, in part, what is happening can be described as nothing short of a community in crisis. The time is now for us to join together to help address the underlying causes of this violence, while at the same time getting guns and violent offenders off the streets. We must do all we can to divert our youth before further incidents result in injury and death. We will continue to follow this story for you. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Ahead of facing his old team this weekend, Panthers quarterback Sam Darnold did with the media what he's supposed to do on the field. Take what they give you, stick to the basics, and don't turn anything over. The Jets come to town Sunday to open the season. It was a rough first 3 years in the league for Darnold in New York. It was pointed out to him, though, that this is not a regular game.
But it is. No, honestly, I mean, we're all excited in the locker room to just play football. You know, play in front of a crowd, especially here in Charlotte. Just to have the fans back, first of all, I think that's amazing, and we've all been looking forward to it for a really long time. And yeah, I'm excited to play the Jets and, you know, see what this football team can do.
All right, the Jets' new quarterback, Zach Wilson, going to make his NFL debut at Carolina. Panthers showed some interest in Wilson in the draft process, but then realized quickly he'd be the 2nd overall pick and out of reach. Wilson's been impressive in the preseason, but he will face an improved Carolina defense on Sunday.
Obviously, Zach's a tremendously talented quarterback. He's looked great in the preseason. He's a winner. He's a gamer. So for us, it's really about us just being really sound to what we do. And you know, we do a lot of different things defensively. You know, we go from, you know, 4 down to 3 down to, you know, a bunch of stuff as well. So, you know, we have to make sure that, you know, we just, hey, everyone knows what they're doing in our assignments and go from there.
Big game Sunday. Brett and Vanessa.
All right, Nick, thank you. And thank you for joining us. NBC Nightly News is next.
We'll see you back here for the news at 11.
Download the WCNC Charlotte News app. Powered by the #1 TV news website in Charlotte, WCNC.com.